So a line has that form, a square root curve has that form, and now we're doing a circle, okay? London, stop talking. So what you are going to do, like if you were doing ones with numbers, okay, so I'm going to do blue as the radius just to keep consistent here. So like to do like to get this exact point, right, what you would do is you would do the difference between the x's. So you would go 5 minus 2. You probably could just do that in your head. You would just be like 3, because between 5 and 2 is 3, right? So you would do like 3 squared plus, and then your vertical is going to be up and down, and that's where you're looking at your y. So you need a difference of y. So 8 minus 4, a lot of you would probably just do 4, and that would equal your radius squared. Right? That would be like how you would get your r. Obviously, there's that squared thing, so that's like annoying, but like sometimes equations are in a certain form, even though it's not as easy to generate the points. Like it doesn't always have to be in the form of y equals. So you're going to learn about a lot of other graphs like later on where they're in different forms. So like the line form is y equals mx plus b. You know, square root form or parabola is y equals x squared. This is like the form for a circle. So like the big juice of this is like, if you think about it, it's always dependent on your center, right? Because that's how you like get all the points with your radius. So they use HK for your center. I don't know why, they just like H and K for whatever reason. So to do this in terms of like for anything, like any number, what you're going to do is you're going to do x. You know how we did like 5 minus 2? You're going to go x minus h. That's how you're always going to get the left to right part of it, of the right triangle. So you're going to throw in x minus h, but it'll be squared, right? Because Pythagorean theorem. And then plus, and then the vertical is always going to be the difference of the y's, because y is up and down. So it's always going to be y minus, and then they like k for whatever reason. So we just kind of roll with it. I didn't make the rules, I promise. So, and then that'll equal your radius squared. So this is like if you did any point. So like the first graph was like that's legit ordered pair, you know, the center is 2, 4, the point is 5, 8. So now I could find the radius if I want to. Like, obviously, you guys probably know this one is 5, right? So the radius on that one would have been 5. This one is like I could do it for any radius. So the x and y stay because like that stays in the equation because that's what's changing, right? Because we have to generate all of these. So the x and the y like stays because that's the variable part. The h and the k are going to have numbers in it because the center is always like the same for the graph. Because you're always doing like how far away from HK is this point? How far away is HK from that point, that point, that point, that point? Okay, the radius will also be a number because the radius is always the same. Okay, so you know how like kind of going back to the line, you know, like y equals mx plus b is like the formula for a line. And then this is like a number, the slope, and b is a number. This is like the same thing, but the h, k, and r are all numbers. Okay, so again, this is like the juice is this formula here. This is the standard form for a circle. So it's very exciting. I don't know, I'm excited about it. So now it's really like what we're going to be doing is like coming up with the equation, graphing them, like looking at a picture, coming up with the equation. It's just like I tried to do like every single type. So this first one, like write an equation with circle with center. Actually, I want you to change this to a 2 just so you can see the difference better. Change that to a 2 because then the numbers look too similar. So what you're going to do is like your generic formula is, remember you would do x minus whatever your h is squared. Because remember, x is the variable. The center is always the same. Plus, and then you would do y minus whatever your k is. and that's going to equal your radius squared. So you're going to plug in 3 numbers. So the x of the center is like your h, so you're going to put 2. Now, people get this mixed up because it's minus, you know, but it's always subtraction because you're finding a distance all the time. You're always finding the difference between these two to find a length. So like even though it's like positive 2, it goes in the formula as minus because of that, okay? And then this guy is minus 3, so you're going to go negative 3. So you can, of course, write that as plus 3 right away. That's fine. And then the radius is 6. So then just don't forget to square it because we're always doing Pythagorean theorem all the time. So it's like if you drew like ballpark picture 2, negative 3, center's about there, radius is 6. You know what I mean? So like what we're doing is we're constantly doing just like a little Pythagorean to figure out all those points on the circle. So then what you would do is, I call it prettying it up or cleaning it up. That's just like my weird way of saying stuff. But like I'll write it, you should write it as y plus 3 squared because otherwise that looks kind of dumb. And you should write it as 36. Like you actually square the radius. And then that's it. And that's your answer. Like you don't even have to like solve it. Like you're not solved or anything. You're just plugging it in. So like I tried to do weird, like this one's kind of weird because it's 0, but it's like you're doing the same thing. So like you're doing Pythagorean theorem, but like on steroids basically. So you're going to be doing x minus 0 squared because that's your center plus, Jesus. Okay, plus, and then you're going to do y minus 5 squared, so it's always minus, equals, and then you're going to square root 7, which people freak out about, but if you're squaring a square root, it just goes to 7. So like your next line, you rarely see it written like that because that looks kind of dumb with the minus 0. So you can just write it as x squared. And then you go y minus 5 squared equals 7, and that would be the answer. So what people mess up is they don't have the plus here. They do like multiplying. But it's like, as long as you remember it's just Pythagorean theorem, you should hopefully get it right every time. So, all right. As this is the other type, is where you're given a picture of a circle and you have to come up with the equation. So it's just like an extra step of being like, what's your center? What's your, and then what's your radius? So now I just have to figure it out. So your center is there. You just kind of like look at it, and then you do the ordered pair. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be negative 4. And then down 1, negative 1, right? So that'd be your center, because that's like where it is. And then for the radius, it'll be very obvious, like the dots, like on the test, you know? So like use one of the dots, and like I usually, if they give me an option of going horizontal or vertical, I'm for sure gonna take it, because then I can just be like 2, done. So you can be, radius is 2, and then now it's just like the last problem. So you could just plug it in right away. So again, because it's supposed to be subtraction, because you're always doing like a difference for the side of the triangle, it's going to be, instead of x minus 4, it'll be x minus a negative 4. So you can go ahead and write plus if you want. And then plus here, and then it would be y minus negative 1. So plus 1. Equals, and then 2 squared is 4. And this would be like the full answer. So it's like a super long equation. You should see the ones for ellipses, they're called, and hyperbolas. Doesn't that sound fun? So yeah, they get crazier. And then, so that one's a nice one because the radius was pretty easy because there's just like counting, you know. This one, the radius, you have to be fancy with and like find it. So this one for the center, I mean, the center is not that hard, I guess, but you just find the order pair. So what is that, 2, 3? So you do 2, 3 is the center. Maybe I should label this here, center. And then the radius, I usually just do Pythagorean theorem because like I don't know. I think that's easiest for me. But like, notice like this is the dot they give you, right? That's how it's going to be on the test. So you need to figure this out, and it's not like a nice, it's like slanty, so you can't like count it like the other one. So what I would do is just do a quick Pythagorean to figure it out. So I'd go like 2 squared plus 3 squared equals r squared, I guess, right? So I'd go 2 squared plus 3 squared equals r squared. And then I wouldn't even get, like, don't get the calculator out because it's not, like, nice, you know, because it's, what, square root of 13? Like, that's kind of ick. But, like, in the formula, you're going to square it again anyway. You know what I mean? Like, why get a decimal when you're just going to square it, and that's going to undo the radical? So what I would do is just leave it and then do your normal, okay, x minus 2 plus, and then y minus 3. Oh, don't be the kid who puts x in both spots. I've seen that happen. Not you guys. You wouldn't do that. And then this is what I'm saying. You're going to square root 13. So it's just 13. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't like do extra work. You don't need a calculator for any of this. Okay, so those are ones like creating the equation. This is like going backwards now. So it's like analyzing the equation and then like taking out the center, taking out the radius. So like for this first one, you have to graph it, which is really entertaining for me to grade these because it's like hard to draw a good circle. But like what you're going to do is you're going to need the center first. So the center comes from these two guys, and remember you want it minus. Do you know what I'm saying? So if it's plus 2, your center is going to be like the opposite. So as long as you like, just remember it's like opposite, right? So negative 2, and then it's minus 4, so you regular 4. Okay, so it's opposite of what you think because you're always doing the difference. And then for the radius, oh, I'll have a kid who will draw legit, like try to draw radius 25, like on the test. And it's like going into other problems and like off the paper and stuff. And I'm like, use common sense. I'm not going to give you like a psycho radius on a test. Do you know what I'm saying? So like if you feel like you're graphing something psycho, it's probably because you forgot to square root it. Because remember, this is r squared, right? So make sure you square root 25 before you start graphing it, right? Does this one even, oh, this one, did I adjust the graph on this, hopefully? Okay, so then you graph the center, so negative 2, 4. Oh, of course, just go off the graph, I'm sorry. Okay, that's embarrassing, but just, it's fine. We're good. This is, don't look at it. Okay, whatever. So as far as graphing a radius of 5, I should change this for next hour. Okay, we're going to count 5. I usually just count 5 in all the directions. Look at, I just said that I wouldn't do that, and there we go. Okay, sorry, that's embarrassing. But like, you're going to count a radius of 5 and draw your best to draw a circle. Okay, that was really bad, but it's okay. You just try your best to like draw your circle on there. Okay. Okay. All right. This one, same thing. I mean, you can try to beat me on solving it, right? So we have center, what? Just x squared? So remember when it was just plain x squared? That's like the same thing as the center being 0, or like the x value being 0, because they're not going to write x minus 0 squared because that looks kind of dumb. Okay, so they usually just leave it as x squared. So when it's just by itself, it's 0. And then the y, again, is this 4 or negative 4 for y? What do you guys think? Is it 4 or negative 4 for the y? Yeah. Positive 4, yep, because you want it to be minus, okay? So 0, 4, graph your point, okay? So 0, 4 is on the y-axis, and then same as this other one, like radius again, for the radius, you have to square root 9. So the radius is 3. So you're going to count 3 in all the directions, like horizontally, vertically, in both ways, and then just try your best to draw a circle. Okay. So that's that type. Is there any questions? Okay. Probably these next ones are where they get kind of on the juicier side, because you have to find the equation and a pass-through point, which is kind of weird because you don't have like the radius basically, because all you do have is the center. So like, okay, we've got a center. Maybe I'll put that in like highlight or something. So this is the formula, or the numbers I'm going to plug in the formula, because that's like the legit center I'm going to be using it, okay? But like the idea is I don't have the radius, right? So I guess I can start doing it. I can do x plus 3 and then y minus 2. Okay. So at least I can do like the first chunk of it. But then now I need the r. So it's kind of, I mean, it's really not too far off from this one. It's just not the whole circle's drawn. So what you need to do is you need to figure out if it passes through that point, the circle does, this would be the radius, wouldn't it? Right? And on the test, there will be like graph paper or like little like grid paper, you know, so you can like draw it if you want. And then now you're just going to find the r, just like how you did on this other one. You know what I mean? Like just do a quick Pythagorean to get the radius with that particular point, because then you can put it in the equation. So you're going to do like figure out this length, horizontal, figure out the vertical. So vertical is 3, horizontal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're going to go 3 squared plus 5 squared equals r squared. And again, don't like get out your calculator at all, because like you're going to end up having to square the stuff anyway. Honestly, I might just stop here. Like, why even do the square root? You know what I mean? Like, it's r squared. That's what I plug in. So I could just do this. Do you know what I mean? Or if that's going to bother you, you could solve it all the way. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just going to square it anyway to put it in the formula. So it's really like if it works for your brain, go for it. You know, like as long as you get it right. I don't care. Okay. Actually, I'm going to change this. Sorry. I'm changing it. I don't like it. I'm going to do a hardcore one. Diameter with endpoints, because I think there's a couple of them on there. Okay. Okay, so we're going to say it's a diameter with endpoints. Okay, so let's just like ballpark this thing. 1, 3 would be like what there, and then 5, -7 would be somewhere over here. This is a diameter. So like this is a really janky graph, but just go with it, okay? So like that's essentially what you're given. You're given this and this, okay? So you have nothing. You have no center. You have no radius. Yay. Okay. All right. So this is the plan. The first thing I do is I find the center. So how do you find the center between 2 points? If you want the center, do you know what you have to find? Does anyone know? How do you find the center between 2 points? Huh? The midpoint. Yeah, you got to find the midpoint. You got to find the middle, the center, the middle between them, right? Middle. Do you remember how to find midpoint? No. Little ACT action. How do you find the middle of stuff? Does anyone know? How do you find the middle of stuff? How do you find a middle test score? You average them. Okay, so how do I find the middle x? I average the x's. How do I find the middle y? I average the y's. Okay, so to find h, because they come, I don't know why they like h. It's just dumb to me, but whatever. I'm going to call it the center x. Okay, I don't know. We'll just go with it. Okay, so this is the formula for it. Remember, average the two x's. So you're going to take these two and average them. Find the middle. It's 3. Okay? So this is your h. Guys, stop talking, please. So this is going to be x minus 3 quantity squared plus, and now I'm going to find k, which is the y coordinate of the center. Okay? So again, how do I find the middle or the center, the middle of stuff? How do I find middle? I average. If you really like the formula, you can write the formula. But like all you're legit doing is just adding y's together and dividing by 2, because that's how you average things. Okay, so to find the middle x, you average. To find the middle y, you average the y's. So you're going to go 3 and negative 7 divided by 2. And you get, what is that, negative 2? Cool. So then my other part of my equation is y plus 2 squared. This is juicy, hey? Okay, then what do I need? Radius still? Are you serious? Okay, so I need the radius. So two ways you could do it. You could just find the diameter and cut it in half. But what if I get like a radical? I don't want to deal with that. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do it. So I'm going to, maybe I'm going to use the center. Wait, what was the center again? So center was 3 and negative 2. And then, I don't know, pick one of the endpoints. What do you want to do? 1 and 3, because then we don't have to do negatives. Well, I'll just do 1 and 3. Or 5 and negative 7. It doesn't matter. And now I'm going to do Pythag. So, x's, the difference of x's is 2. The difference of y's, negative 2 to 3 is what, 5? Right? Yeah, 5 equals r. So I did the center, and I could have done 5 and negative 7. I just want to do bigger numbers, I guess. So I did 3 to 1 is 2. Negative 2 to 3 is 5. And then my radius is 4 and 25, so 29. Whew! That was a good one. Hey? Yeah, I mean, I could do this if I want. But then I'm going to have to square it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just kind of like, I would have to square root 29. So I just wrote 29. Okay. ACT. Good time. Okay. Circle is tangent at the x-axis at negative 4, 0. So negative 4, 0 is here. The y-axis at 0, 4. Okay? If it's tangent, guys, stop talking, please. If it's tangent at those points, draw a pick. Tangent means it just skims it. I'm saying that would be what the circle looks like, right? This is at 4, this is at negative 4. So if this would be the center, what would be the radius? 4. So don't even look at these because I got to square it, right? 4 squared. Now I just have to figure out the center would be what? Negative 4, 4? Negative 4, 4. So is it C or D? D. D. Okay, so